Hey everybody, it has been a while. What the frick is going on here with more core? Well, I'm back to bring you more core, and I thought today we'd do something a little bit low key, or I don't know, maybe it's high key. I don't know what the freaking difference is. I'm just going to talk to you about my favorite chore core games, my top 5 chore core games, I should say. This is at least of all the ones I've played. Now, let me be clear about what this is for those that don't know. Chore core I define as a game where they give you usually real work scenarios or things that are kind of mundane in a work sense, and then video gamify it. There's tons of examples of it. I have not played every game like this, and there are tons of them out there. There's more coming out all the time. This cannot be as comprehensive as that because I don't have time to play every single one of them, but I do like them, and I have played a good number of them. Here are my top 5 and why. My 5th favorite is a game called PC Building Simulator, and if you were like me at all in the late 80s, 90s, and you were building your own PCs all the time, honestly, these days I don't have near as much time or patience to do it like I used to. But anyway, I have very fond feelings of that era, and I worked for a company that did it. And so this all rang with me as soon as I installed the thing. There's already a PC Building Simulator 2 either on its way or out. I'm not sure. I'd need to check on that. This one came out in 2019, and it basically is you running a very small PC repair and building business that you're running in a very small space. I think you even, if memory serves, you start in your basement, you work your way up to an actual office, and it involves everything from people making specific requests like, hey, I need this kind of fan or this kind of GPU, or very specifically, I need, water cooling and for heat management on the machine, that sort of stuff. And you upgrade your abilities and your facilities as time goes on, and you are literally reaching into the case, putting in RAM, taking out busted video cards, replacing it with something else. It's what you think it is. And they have tons of DLC that are like with actual brands of PC makers, so that there's reason for you to tie some of this into the real world. The game is pretty accurate in terms of the work it is to do things. Obviously, it's gamified, so you're actually having some fun, depending on your like for these sorts of games. At number 4, we have a game that took me took a whole bunch of time out of my life for a very long time, and I haven't played it in a bit. I still think very fondly on my time in there, and that is Gas Station Simulator. This game came out in 2021, so relatively recent, and it is exactly what you think it is. You find an old abandoned gas station, you take it over. There's a reason it's abandoned. There's a whole story as to how you inherit it. None of that really matters for what I want to talk about here. But it features all of the things you might think of at a gas station. You're serving people gas, so when they come up and they want gas, you pump their gas, kind of old school style. Eventually, you hire employees to do a lot of that work for you. You keep the place clean. You do a lot of sweeping. You restock shelves. You have a little fake store that you buy things from. Gas gets delivered from a dude who, for some reason, looks just like Elon Musk, and it's kind of disconcerting when you first see him. Anyway, I found this game to be quirky, weird, kind of busted in a lot of ways, but in good ways, like lots of bugs and strange stuff. And it just had me enthralled for a very long time. I really liked it, and it's just the kind of right mix of janky, a little bit creepy, and also addicting to try to get your gas station up to the kind of level that you want to. Fantastic little game, Gas Station Simulator, available pretty much everywhere. Next up, one you've probably all seen on Steam or various other services, and that is House Flipper. Pretty unique take on a one-man renovation crew. The idea is that you are acquiring old houses that are in need of much renovation, cleaning, repurposing, and then selling. And that's the loop. And the loop is pretty good. You do a lot of picking up stuff. You literally vacuum up roaches when they're a problem. You take sledgehammers to walls and redo those walls entirely. You clean windows. You replace tile. Sometimes you put in a new wall, and other times you put in carpet or flooring where there was none before. You have missions, and these missions are pretty easy to follow in terms of how they're structured. You have another magical tablet or computer, like a lot of these games have, that tell you exactly what you need to do and when to do them. And it's very workified, chore core, an excellent entry, and they also have a sequel coming up, as well as a ton of DLC available for this game. So I would check out House Flipper if you are at all interested in chore core gaming. And at number 2, we have a game that grew on me very quickly, although my initial impression was a little mixed, and that is Power Wash Simulator. And you might say to yourself, wait a minute, Scott, this is everywhere. It's on Game Pass, it's on Steam, and everywhere I look, it has like perfect 4 or 5 star reviews and overwhelmingly positive response on Steam. Well, you'd be absolutely correct, and there's a reason for that, but it is a little bit of an early slow burn as you try to expand your capabilities. It can seem very monotonous, on the lower levels because sometimes tough stuff takes a while to build up in these games. That's the whole point of them. You're trying to get better and faster and more efficient and get better jobs and this sort of thing. And this game is all about that. It is exactly what you think it is. You take a power wash device, a power washer, and you apply it to all sorts of dirty stuff. And this is everything from old playgrounds to skate parks to an old car. There's even weird stuff like bonus missions where you can clean the Mars rover, which is pretty fun. And they just released some crazy DLC for Warhammer, for the Final Fantasy universe, and just most recently they put in a SpongeBob DLC. They're about $8 for these DLCs. Some of the DLC is free. A lot of it is not, but it's reasonably priced, I believe. And the game's campaign that comes with the game is pretty enormous, so you're going to have plenty to do there just with the basic package. There's a lot of reason people put this on the top of their list. It is very close to number one for me and is extremely satisfying and extremely core. Like, it is straight up, hey, do you want to power wash your way to success? This is the video game. And I will say one quick side note, this game plays incredibly well on a Steam Deck. So if you have a Steam Deck and are looking for something like this, do it. It's also an amazing second screen experience where you can have a movie or a TV show going in the background and still play this game. High marks for Power Wash Simulator. And at number one, I have a pick that is different from all the rest of these. Power Wash Simulator, of course, fun because it dips into some pretty ridiculous scenarios sometimes with the DLC and stuff. So it's not all based in the reality of day-to-day work as core games usually are. But I've gone even further with my number one pick, and that one is Hard Space Shipbreaker. Hard Space Shipbreaker was in early access for a long time, and I played it through the entire process of that game from launch of early access all the way to full 1.0 release in May of 2022. And I beat the entirety of the campaign and kept playing after that. Still play it, still hop in there here and there, just to do a little ship teardown and recycling. The idea is you are equipping yourself with cutting-edge salvaging technology. You work for this mega space corporation that has these big disassembly bays that are just hovering in orbit over Earth. And this is an Earth well into the future where things aren't so great on the planet. And the best way to get work and kind of pay for your family and make your life happen is to get a job as a shipbreaker. And you take these devices, these cutters and these gravity devices and various other tools, explosives and other stuff, to take these big ships apart and salvage what's worth money, throw away what isn't, recycle materials that need recycling. You have missions to accomplish in that regard. Try not to kill yourself and blow yourself up. There are tons of hazards, cold, battery pack stuff that will electrocute you if you do it wrong. All sorts of problems when you decompress the cabin of a ship and then go flying and kill yourself against the back end of some other object. Great little story, amazing mechanics, and is easily my favorite core game ever. Taking apart a ship bit by bit till there's nothing left of that ship is a completionist's dream. So if you'd like to start on a project and not leave anything to chance to the very last scrap, I think Hard Space Shipbreaker is going to be your jam. But it's also a cool sci-fi vibe. It's set in a place that is unusual and different. They really lean into that. And some have said it's basically what people are doing in the Homeworld universe when they're not out playing an RTS in space. I think that's kind of a fair way of describing this game. It's fantastic. Cannot recommend it enough, and you can get this, I think, currently still on Game Pass, also on Steam and various other places. I think the game is cheap too. Yeah, $17 on sale currently, and is worth every penny. Shipbreaker, one of my favorite games ever, not just my favorite hardcore core game. And that's it. That's what I love. I love these games, and everyone's always saying, Scott, you play a ton of these. Do you have a definitive list? Well, there's my list. Thank you all for watching. Now here's something that happened in Starfield, and I'll see you next time.
Separated from their home planet or what? They scavenge what they need. Lots of old facilities left over.
Get more at frogpants.com.